black sa screen?
No, I'm seeing from richness to risk the conservation status of
Okay, yeah.
Palawan's flora with a very beautiful
Okay.
landscape.
Sige. Okay, sige. Good morning again. So, kung nakarating na kayo sa Mantalingahan, this photo was taken from Ransang sa Rizal, ano? And those trees teeming with ano ba to? Brownish, yellowish brown, mga manggis yan, no? Fruiting yan during the time na kinolekta natin. Na-picture natin. Those are manggis. No? Okay. Anyway, so this will be the outline of presentation. So a little bit of introduction. But in the interest of time, I'll go straight to the introduction. Okay, so we all know that the Palawan is dubbed as the last ecological frontier ng Pilipinas. Na-formalize ito through Republic Act 7611, yung Strategic Environmental Plan Act of Palawan. No? It covers around 1.5 million hectares. So parang mga 5% ng buong land area ng Pilipinas. No? Comprises about 25% of the Philippine islands and islets, no? 1,780. And in 1992, it was proclaimed by UNESCO as Man and Biosphere Reserve. 700,000 hectares of terrestrial forest, 42,500 hectares of mangroves, which will be discussed in detail by Ma'am Georgine later. Ano? And then, as far as biodiversity is concerned, 13 of 16 seagrasses species, 8 out of 11 endemic amphibians, 279 birds, 15 out of the 25 marine mammals, 58 terrestrial mammals, 69 reptiles, and so on. So really the biodiversity richness of Palawan is exceptional. But as you can see in the figure, anyway, this is sourced from the Palawan Biodiversity Facts and Figures, PNNI. But if you can see, wala tayong data dito ng terrestrial flora. But yan yung isi-share ko sa inyo. In the publication of Doc Lita Sopsop of WPU and Doc June Buot, they said that there's about 1,700 to 3,500 flowering plants in Palawan. But in their publication, they only enumerated 278 in their study, 278 species. Let me share with you, ito kinuha ko na lang din sa mga presentation ko ng mga report. Last year, meron kaming survey sa Calamianes. This is part of the Philippine-Canada Partnership for Nature-Based Solutions sa mga watersheds. So, 4 na watersheds sa Calamianes ang aming sinurvey. Una yung Digiboy o Mabentangen watershed in Coron. So, we we documented 165 species, and take note na 2-kilometer transect lang to. In our 2-kilometer transect, laging yung Palawan. And in any survey na ginagawa namin, laging yung Palawan yung most diverse. So 24 endemic species, 72 native species. Threatened species, may 21. Isang critically endangered species. This is in Coron. Sa Sitio Pula watershed, in Linapacan, Palawan, 125 morpho species. This is less than 2 kilometer. Maikli lang yung forest nila doon. But look at the diversity, 125 species. 7 threatened species, including 6 vulnerable and 1 OTS. In Sinibayan, this is in Busuanga, Sinibayan watershed. Ito, isang 2-kilometer transect din lang ito. 101 species, 9 endemics. And then 10 threatened, 8 vulnerable. Ito yung ilan sa mga species na na-encounter namin. And then in Luwak or Dita o watershed, nakakatuwa, iba yung nasa literature na pangalan, iba yung tawag ng mga tao. Kaya dinodoble namin yung pareho namin inilalagay yung name ng watershed. So this one is in Culion, Again, 2-kilometer transect. Medyo kokonti, 77 morpho species. The lowest among the 4 watershed na sinurvey namin. 8 threatened species. Ito naman, na-present ko na to sa conference. Then our study on Cleopatra's Needle Critical Habitat or yung Mount Puyos, no? With the National Institute of Biological Research of Korea. 6 explorations ang ginawa namin dito sa Mount Puyos o sa CNCH Cleopatra, no? So a total of 324 species belonging to 244 genera and 81 families, no? Dicots 246 and so on, no? And then ang island endemic, meron 10 kaming nakita. Philippine endemic, 36, 261 ay native. And we already produced a book. I believe may kopya na ang PCSD nito. Ano? Uh, magkakasama to lahat ng biodiversity, hindi lang plants. No? Okay. And then some of the noteworthy species, ang dami nang alam natin na biodiversity ng recorded biodiversity ng Palawan and even sa Pilipinas naman sa in general, no? But marami pa rin ang hindi pa na-describe, no? So sa Cleopatra, we have I think 4 species, no? Itong bagong species ng Anarin Christus, this will be the 3rd species, no? And then Polyspora, the only pink flower Polyspora, this will be the 4th species, no? And then another purple Syzygium, dadagdag pa sa mahigit 200 listahan ng Syzygium natin ito, no? And then Syrtandra, isa rin sa maraming species tong genus na to, no? But this is a new species. And then aside from new o undescribed species, meron ding mga island endemic, no? Begonia cleopatrae, Codonobea corrugata, and hindi lang ito island endemic. In fact, this is mountain endemic sa Cleopatra lang. Then Syrtandra hirtigira, only known dati sa Mount Pulgar, pero nakita rin namin sa Cleopatra. Podocarpus palawanensis, Justicia vidalis, Reblosa palawanensis, ito yung mga island endemics. Same with Staurogene, Truanta, and Raicha palawanensis. And then, some threatened species, Podocarpus palawanensis is critically endangered. Syzygium ecostulatum is endangered. And then, Dicliptera fortibractea, also an endangered species. And then, Sapium luzonicum or Balacata luzonica, vulnerable species. Threatened din po yung Codonobea corrugata and Syrtandra hirtigira. Okay. So, yun po yung sa Cleopatra. Ito naman sa Mount Mantalingahan, presentation namin ni Ma'am Pau noong National Protected Area Conference, na sa Mount Mantalingahan naman po, we did 2 traverse, na talaga pong nagsimula kami sa Ransang, Rizal, and then bumaba kami sa Brooks Point na. Yun yung unang trek. Yung pangalawang trek, pabalik naman. Nag-start kami sa Brooks Point, bumaba kami sa Ransang. Okay, so more than 800 species. So far, ito yung pinakamataas na diversity talaga na record namin sa isang mountain. Anyway, 10 days, every trek po namin is around 8 to 10 days. So 599 angiosperms, 52 gymnosperms, 10 bryophytes, and 52 pteridophytes. At again, 168 unknown. Marami pa po kaming undescribed species. Hindi pa lang po namin na-describe. Hindi pa lang po namin napapublish. Some of the newly described species from Mount Mantalingahan, nag-start po kami sa Mantalingahan ng 2019 to 2021. So Skyvola sabalpina, Medinilla simpliciaimosa, Helicia danlagun sa DE, mga new species yan, and marami pa pong waiting for publication. Ito po, na-review na to, hindi pa lang namin na ibabalik. Another species of mistletoe, yung Lepidaria, Canivilii, and Sonerilla. Okay, so again, ako bilang marami ng bundok na naakyat, walang duda na yung biodiversity ng Palawan is really the most diverse, exceptional, no? But then hindi rin natin maikakaila, no, na yung last ecological frontier natin. Marami yung nagsasabi nito, no? Actually nabasa ko rin lang to, no? Tawag na sa kanila, instead of last ecological frontier, lost ecological frontier na. Of course, because of large-scale mining quarrying, agricultural expansion, land conversion, rapid growth of mass tourism, and other infrastructure, no? That cause forest loss and habitat fragmentation. Of course, I don't want to discuss anymore sa topic na to, no? But doon sa mga ating nagmamanage na ano, ito naman po ay call to action lang yung term na lost ecological frontier. No? It's an advocacy term, not because Palawan is already lost, but because it is in danger of being lost. Okay, and to show you the forest and tree cover loss in Palawan sa Global Forest Watch po. Look at that, no? From 2002 to 2024, 46,000 hectares of primary forest ang nawala sa Palawan. In fact, pinakamalaki nung 2022, no, na 21,000 hectares nung year 2022, no? And that's equivalent to 21% of the total forest area ng Palawan. As far as tree cover is concerned, 18%, no? 220,000 hectares tree cover loss. Okay? Pinakamalaki din nung 2022 na 31,000 hectares. Yung forest tree cover and tree cover loss ng Palawan is significantly higher than the country average, which is 13 and 8% respectively. Samantalang sa Palawan, 21% and 18%. Okay, kanina nagtatanong tayo kung ano yung mga pwedeng gawin, no? Just i-share ko lang ito sa inyo, but through sharing this, marami ring mga information about Palawan trees ang matatakel ko dito, no? So siguro alam niyo yung binhi program ng Energy Development Corporation, no? So nagsimula kami sa 96 native tree species. Ang basis pa lang namin noon is yung DAO 2017-11, yung ating Philippine Red List for Plants. Tiningnan namin yung pinaka-threatened na mga species, prioritize namin yan, and then yan, nag-document kami, nag-mass propagate, nagtanim. Sa ngayon po ay meron na kaming 220 plus arboreta and tree parks sa buong 16 regions ng Pilipinas. And then, protection of selected habitat. Hindi pwedeng tanim lang pero wala namang protection sa in situ. And in all of these steps, kailangan may advocacy. Dun sa 96 species namin, ilan sa mga pinaka-rare na species namin is makikita rin sa Palawan. Una yung manggis, but nalaman din namin, kaya ang tawag ko sa Ransang, no, diyan sa Rizal, Manggis Country, kasi sobrang rare ng manggis sa Pilipinas. In fact, sa Pilipinas, Palawan lang makikitang manggis, no? Pero meron sa Borneo. Okay? But then sa Palawan, ang dami pala niya pagdating sa diyan sa Rizal, sa southern part. Narig, no? Yung Palawan Narig, Batika Mangga Chapuy, 1911 huling nakolekta ito. So more than a century bago uli na rediscover. At ito lang po yung nung hinahanap namin to, wala kaming ibang clue kundi 250 feet altitude of Mount Pulgar. Yung Mount Pulgar lang nahirapan na kaming hanapin because hindi nakilala ang Mount Pulgar ngayon. Thumb peak na yan ngayon, ano? Thumb peak na yan ngayon. Anyway, then aside from Mount Pulgar, nakita rin namin to sa this is from Mount Pulgar, ano? Unang documentation namin is April 1, 2014. Swerte, no? Dahon lang natuyo nang nakita ko, tinanong ko yung guide, saan kaya galing yung dahon natuyo na to? No? Sabi niya dito po. So nagsiguro ako, pinakyat ko yung guide, and then swerte naman may bulaklak pa. So confirm. It's Palawan Narig. June 14, binalikan namin dahil nga nung April ay may mga flower buds na. Bumalik kami ng June 14 at yun sakto na fruiting na siya. Teeming in yellow yung mga puno ng Palawan Narig. Kaya madali naming nabilang, madali naming nakita na medyo marami pala dito. No? And then known only in Mount Pulgar yan, pero nung pumunta kami sa Magarwak, eto rin, na-record din namin yan sa Magarwak Eco Park noong December 2, 2016. Okay. Another species is yung nariglaot, no? Na sa Pilipinas ay makikita lang sa Mount Kapuas, sa may Taytay, Palawan. Ito naman po yung pinaka-guide na northeast of Mount Kapuas, ni walang elevation. So, buti na lang may mga guides tayo na medyo nakakaalam din ng mga puno. No? Actually, parang pang tatlong balik namin sa Mount Kapuas bago kami nakakita. Na sterile pa, wala pang bulaklak. But then, nung pang-apat na balik namin sa Mount Kapuas, eto na, no? Ganun din, parang Palawan narig, naninilaw na yung canopy because of the fruits ng nariglaot. Yan, no? So kaya madaling nakita rin namin, oops, andun lang pala sa tabi namin yung mga sa tabi ng kubo na tinitigilan namin yung mga nariglaot na yan, no? Dahil nung magbulaklak sila o magbunga. Santos Tumene Speciosus, ito ay declared as endangered sa DAO 2017 at sa Palawan lang, no? Makikita ito. But yung aming study nagsasabi na it's the most abundant and widespread native tree in Palawan. No? Sa mainland Palawan, from the south, Rio Tuba, to El Nido, no? South to north talaga. This is in Rio Tuba, no? Puro halos monostand dyan ng Palawan Mangkono. Urduha Palawan, no? Yung mga maliliit na yan, no? Thousands din yan. That's also Palawan Mangkono. Sa Magarwak, ganun din. Ito, may mga bulaklak na yung iba, no? So napakalawak niyan na puro Palawan Mangkono lang. Snake Island, sa El Nido, no? Puro Palawan Mangkono din yan. Okay? And then Calamianes, no? Tiningnan din namin yung Calamianes. Sa Calamianes, aside from Coron, which is Coron Island, which is limestone, halos lahat ng isla doon dominated ng Palawan Mangkono. No? This is in Uson Island. Di ba sa Calamianes, Busuanga, puro parang savanna-like vegetation. Damuhan na maraming scattered trees. 90%, more than 90% ng mga puno na yan belong to single species, which is Palawan Mangkono. Tawag nila dyan ay Palo de Hierro. Okay. Apo Island, the same. Dinaglet Island sa Calamianes, the same. Puro ganyan din yung vegetation. And in Colyon Island. Okay. And that is why through our explorations, no, nakita namin na hindi pala yung mga declared as mga threatened or mga critically endangered dun sa ating Philippine Red List, hindi pala totoo na or may ilan pala doon na marami naman pala pa. No? At meron din naman, ang mas nakakalungkot, mas marami yung hindi siya declared na threatened, pero iisang location na lang makikita. No? Una ako nag-contribute, 2016, nag-contribute tayo sa Philippine Red List ng assessment nitong 5 mangkono. So, may 5 tayong mangkono. No? So, from critically endangered, for instance, yung Santos Simon Philippinensis, kasi from 2 provinces, nakita pa namin siya sa 9 more provinces. So marami talaga. So nangangahulugan lang talaga, kukunti pa ang alam natin sa gubat natin. Now, marami pa tayong hindi alam. Unang-una, ang knowledge natin ng distribution is only based dun sa mga dating exploration, sa mga dating study, which is napaka-limited naman niya. So sa Makatwid, through that, na-downgrade namin lahat ng Mangkono species. In fact, yung ating Palawan Mangkono ngayon, hindi na siya endangered, hindi na siya threatened. Near threatened na lang siya, or OTS. Okay. Ito yung first 5 species na kinontribute natin sa IUCN. And because of that, no, yung recognizing yung ginagawa ng EDC, ginagawa namin for population survey, yung BGCI or Botanic Gardens Conservation International, sila yung coordinator for the IUCN red listing. So they had a MOA with EDC at yung EDC na yung naging official partner for the red listing ng Philippine endemic trees. Noong una endemic trees lang, pero nung matapos sa amin ng endemic trees, sinamahan na rin nila nung near endemic trees, meaning nakikita sa Pilipinas tapos makikita rin sa isa o dalawang country pa, Indonesia o Malaysia. Okay, so ito yung Philippine Red List, no? A total of 839 threatened plants. Kasama na dito yung pteridophytes at bryophytes. So, kahit nung una pa lang, hindi pa kami nag-a-assess, sabi ko, may mukhang underestimated ito considering na 93% of our forest ay naubos na. Pero 11,000 species of plants, 800, less than 1%. No? Ang less than 10% ang threatened. No? So, nung mag-assess na kami, eto na nga, no, there is a significant differences dun sa assessment namin with that of Philippine Red List. Na? Ito yung sa Philippine Red List. Sorry, yung left side is the Philippine Red List. Ito yung aming global tree assessment. Ito naman yung sa local, yung DAO, no? Yung Philippine Red List. Malaking difference from 80% sa amin na threatened, no? Sa red list, sa ating Philippine Red List is just 10%. And look at that, no? Ito mas makikita natin sa table. 373 yung assessed namin na critically endangered. 53 lang sa DAO, 590 ng endangered, 36 lang. And ito yung medyo nakaka-worry, ano? Because 1,449 or 87% ay categorized as other wildlife species, which is equivalent to least concern. And tiningnan namin, no, yung 373 critically endangered na aming inassess. Kasi ito, mga single location species lang to, no? Isa lang, makikita na lang sa isang locality. Kaya sabi namin, parang it's a no-brainer na automatic dapat critically endangered siya. But look at that, no? Sa Philippine Red List, ay 328 out of the 373 critically endangered namin ay least concern or OWS, other wildlife species. So, again, that's worrying because yung ating red list, yung Philippine National Red List, it's not just a list, but it's a law. No? Lahat ng kasama sa red list ng Philippines, hindi mo pwedeng putulin yan. Hindi mo pwedeng i-trade. Okay, pwede mong i-earth ball, ganun na lang. Ganun lang. No? But knowing na yung napakarami nating critical endangered species ay least concern ang categorization, so parang hindi natin napoprotektahan yung tamang species. Okay. And that's a big problem in conservation. But in 2023, na-present na namin ito with the Philippine Plant Conservation Committee during the National Conference on Philippine Plant Conservation. At nag-agree naman sila na dapat ma-adapt yung or ma-review yung criteria ng PPCC. But hopefully sa next update ng Philippine Red List ay medyo pareho na yung aming assessment. Okay. Okay, to summarize yung aming global tree assessment na ginawa, so we have 3,391 Philippine native trees. Medyo underestimated ito kasi yung IUCN red listing, hindi ito nagsasama ng sub-specific level. Meaning, for instance, meron tayong Diospyros pilosanthera, variety Thayabensis, Diospyros pilosanthera, variety pilosanthera. So sa IUCN Red List, i-assess siya as one species lang. Kaya medyo underestimated ito. So around 3,600 nga yan. So Philippine endemic trees ay 1,343. Again, yun din yung case nun. Species level lang to, hindi kasama yung subspecific rank. At sa Palawan, yung Philippine endemic trees sa Palawan, so Philippine endemic trees sa Palawan, 221. At ang Palawan endemic trees, meaning Hindi lang sa hindi sa meaning sa Palawan lang makikita. So 62. So para ang taas ng island endemism or province endemism ng Palawan. So 62. And ano yung conservation status ng Philippine endemic trees sa Palawan, yung 221? 32 dyan, critically endangered. 75 endangered. 41 vulnerable. 33 near threatened. Yung iba hindi na threatened. Pero ang taas ng percentage, no? Around 80% ay either near threatened or threatened talaga. Okay. Doon sa 373 critically endangered species, tiningnan namin kung saan distributed. Ano? Out of the 373, 282 are province endemic. Parang 4 na probinsya lang ang walang province endemic na critically endangered species. No? And of course, ang pinakamataas ng bilang ang pinakamaraming critically endangered species ay sa Palawan. 32, no? 32 ang critically endangered, and out of the 32, 30 ay Palawan endemic. So sa Palawan lang makikita. Ito yung anyway, isa rin sa nakita namin during our assessment ng lahat ng ating mga endemic trees nga, about 30% of our Philippine endemic trees have never been documented mula nung pangalanan sila, mula nung ma-publish. Pagka-publish, hindi na uli na record. No? And more than 80% of critically endangered species are known only in one location. Okay? So, napakataas talaga ng threat kasi nasa isang location na lang. Wala na talaga siyang other source kung mawawala na yung population na yan. So, ways forward. So sabi ko nga, ito matagal ko na rin ina-advocate to. Flagship species for conservation para masiguro natin na walang species na ma-extinct. Walang tree species na ma-extinct. Gawing flagship species by province. No? So kung yung endemic species, kung yung critically endangered species ay endemic sa isang probinsya na to, ito dapat yung kanilang gamitin i-mainstream for all types of planting. Kasi sila lang yung meron nun. So it's their pride, it's also their responsibility to sustain yung population na yan. So sige, magsimula lang tayo sa critically endangered species na 373. Kanina pinakita ko kung na 282 doon ay island endemics. No? So, feasible ito, no? Kasi ginagawa na namin to sa binhi. Since 2021, because of that output ng aming global tree assessment, nagkaroon kami ng new priority species. Pagkatapos namin ng 96, no? Base na talaga dun sa assessment namin na ginawa. So meron kami ngayong 49 critically endangered species na new priority. At yan ay nasa 4 na provinces. Ilocos, 7, Palawan, pinakamadami, 15. Although 32 ang critically endangered species sa Palawan, pero 15 lang yung isinama muna namin sa aming priority species. Samar 13 and Davao 14. So anong ginagawa namin dito? Parang yung whole cycle uli ng binhi. Documentation, mass propagation, and then planting of future mother trees, and then of course advocacy. Okay. So ito yung 32 critically endangered trees ng Palawan at yung dalawa lang sa huli, yan lang yung hindi Palawan endemic. But look at the categorization o yung classification pagdating sa DAO. All, no? So puro OWS or OTS. Other wildlife species. Sabi ko nga nag-iisa na nga yung population at napakatagal nang hindi pa nare-record. No, tapos OWS this concern. Mukhang may problema talaga tayo sa categorization with regards to our Philippine Red List. Okay. Again, since 2021 hinahanap na namin to. 2022 kami nag-start sa Palawan, no? 2022. And out of the 15 na hinahanap namin sa Palawan, nakasampu na kami, no? May 5 pa kaming hindi nakikita. Itong mga to ay wala talagang makukuha ng photo dahil pag after nga nung kanilang publication, hindi na ulit na record. No? So, ilan sa mga to, for instance, yung Palawan Putat, lately lang to na pangalanan Barringtonia Palawanensis, 1984, no? At yun din yung collection niya. So, na-redocument namin yan sa Aborlan. Okay. And then, itong Cletra pulgarensis, last collected in Mount Pulgar o Mount Thampik, 1911. 1911. So, after 111 years na redocument namin sa peak lang talaga siya na isa sa pinakamahirap na hike namin. Yung Mount Pulgar na yan. So, sa peak lang talaga ng Mount Pulgar nag-o-occur. Wala sa baba. Okay. And then, itong paningit or Imbulanteres picata, last collected in Victoria Peak, 1906. Pero ito, no, new population yung nakita namin sa may Estrella Falls lang, mababa. Swerte, may bulaklak din nung makolekta namin. Kaya confirm that it's Imbulanteres picata. No? So yung iba, marami na rin kami, nakita na rin namin yung other 10 pa. No? So may 5 pa kaming hinahanap, kaya babalik pa ulit kami sa Palawan for that. No? And of course, pag nakita namin to, no, kinakailangan may partner kami. Hindi naman kami laging nandyan. So, especially sa in-situ restoration and in-situ conservation. So, we partner with, may MOA kami with Philippine Parks and Biodiversity and of course with PCST. Okay. And then, yun nga, dapat hindi lang ex situ, no? Dapat in situ. Kasi yung ex situ natin, yung pagtatanim natin ex situ, hindi po yan nakakabawas hindi yan makakapag-improve ng conservation status. Kasi sa red list, sa criteria, it's population in the wild. No? Hindi como ang dami-dami mo nang itinanim. Kaya yung Nara natin, di ba? You can find Nara anywhere in the Philippines. Pero vulnerable pa rin siya. Kasi nga, ang sinasama lang na assessment, sa assessment ng red list, ang kasama lang is natural populations in the wild. Kaya kailangan natin ANR, yan, pwede yung makasama. No? So, and of course, the protection. So, kaya sa Palawan, we are partner namin yung Katala Foundation. No? And then, meron din kaming MOA with sa Iwahig, Prison Penal Colony. Sa kanila kasing jurisdiction yung Mount Pulgar or Thampik. Kaya meron din kaming MOA sa kanila for in-situ restoration. Okay, ito yung hanggang ngayon, ano, kaya medyo nagseselos yung mga botanist sa fauna. Kasi di ba, ang dami-daming wildlife foundation or conservation center pagdating sa animals. Katala Foundation, Mabuwaya Foundation, Philippine Eagle Foundation, no? But not a single foundation for plant species. So kaya in fact yung Adapt a Wildlife Species Program ng EDC, ito yung kauna-unahan na may halaman. So ito yung pwede nating gawin, ano? Part of the flagship species program na rin yung Adapt a Wildlife Species Program. No, malaking may tutulong nitong mga PNTs. Nag-exito tayo dahil wala naman tayo pang mga jurisdiction sa public land, but malaking bagay yan because yung ating mga tinatanim sa ating mga backyard, ito yung pwede nating ibalik dun sa natural population niya. And that's the very essence of Adapt a Wildlife Species Program, to bring those critically endangered species back to abundance. So, yun lang po, and thank you for listening. This is Mount Mantalingahan Peak. Thank you po.
Thank you, Doc Pat. There's a lot of information that we have heard, and it's an awareness, diba? Laking bagay that you're now able to see all of this, and it looks like you've had quite an adventure just trying to identify and look for all of these different types of species of flora. So we'll open up the floor for questions. I think we can have maybe 2 to 3 questions. I see Sir Ed with his hand raised. Sir Ed, do you have a question? Oh, baka yan pa yung kanina pa. All right. Any questions? Let's go into the chat and take a look. Ayan, yes, sabi nga po ni Miss Joy Tugas, we really need action. Any other questions from the group? Yes, the data really shows, diba? Sabi, sana mabalik natin yung statement from the lost frontier to the last frontier. I hope there's still time for action to make it happen. Sabi nga ni Guru Rafi. Right? Do we have any? Oh, I see people with hands raised. We have from Guru Rafi. You have your hands raised. You have a question? You're on mute.
Sir Indiana Jones, among all your research and your encounters, not I've been to Mount Matalingahan. Nag-trek ako ng 7 to 8 hours, okay, sa Signapan Valley. Pero as a professor, na research person, ano yung pinaka-challenging para sa iyo?
Na mountain or na
Experience ng body mo, nung isip mo, kasi di ba pag nape-pressure ka, meron ka bang regret? Ba't ko ba pinasok ito? Ano yung pinaka-mental challenge yung nangyari sa'yo? Kasi syempre, minsan bumabagyo, di ba,
Yes.
maulan, and you're nowhere, somewhere in the forest. So ano yun?
Yeah. It's always a challenge yung physical yung physical na hirap, no? Lalo na sa Mantalingahan. 5th day namin narating yung yung peak, no? So ang dami niya kasing nasa taas ka ng elevation, bababa ka ulit, tataas ka ulit. Ang daming mga ridges, no? Kahit naman sa bundok, challenging yan. But ang maganda kasi rito, habang na-overcome yung pagod kapag nakakita ka na ng rare na halaman, lalo na pag alam mong, possibly new species to. So, wala na lahat. So, physically pagod ka, pero ang isip mo, napakasaya. No? Kaya, sa totoo lang, mas tiring pa yung maupo sa meeting maghapon kaysa sa maglakad ka sa bundok ng kahit 5 araw. Kasi, yun nga, relax ang pakiramdam mo. And you are nakaka-connect ka sa nature. Yun, no? So, challenging parate. But then, yun nga, na mas exciting siya rather than challenging, no?
Thank you. Salamat.
I actually had an experience of being able to see Mount Matalingahan din. Hindi ko pa siya naakyat talaga, but good to know. Actually, that brings a question to mind as well. There are a lot of interest groups right now, Doc Pat, in terms of hiking. The youth is picking it up. And are there any, at a personal question ko, are there any projects or ideas in terms of potentially combining those two groups, or rather opening up lines of interest between native Philippine native trees enthusiasts or native trees enthusiasts and some of these climb groups? Kasi I'm actually getting those, di ba, mga aakyat dito sa
Yes.
Mount Matalingahan, different types of mountains. Yes, please.
Yes. Right, isa na rin yan sa nagiging stress reliever ng karamihan, yung trekking, no? Pero yun nga, tama ka. Mas maganda i-combine natin yung not just trekking but also awareness, no? Biodiversity awareness. So, may mga pwede siguro yung mahihilig sa trek, no? Magandang sila yung ating maging target for awareness, no? And then marami tayong mga treks na naghahanap kami ng ngayon kasi kung alam niyo yung bagong buo na Biodiversity Foundation of the Philippines Incorporated. So ang program na to, may program kami na ini-explore namin yung mga unexplored mountains pa. So last year ay Mount Kimalugong kami. Yes. Part 2 ng Central Sierra Madre. Yung mga mountains na wala pang biodiversity study. Yun yung priority namin. Bukas paalis kami, pabiliran kami. dalawang bundok din yung aakyatin namin doon, Mount Suwiro tsaka Mount Camalabagoan. So dito sa mga trek namin na to, kami wala tong ano, puro pro bono to talaga. Dahil gusto lang namin, at least may nagpopondo na para sa expenses, pero wala talaga mga honoraria ang mga tao. So dito naghahanap lagi kami ng volunteer, lalo na yung malapit doon sa area. So kaya yung mahihilig sa trekking diyan, pwedeng pag magko-connect kami sa inyo pag pupunta kami sa malapit sa area nyo. At naghahanap kami lagi ng volunteer. This time 20 kaming aakyat, no? 20 na tao. May mga estudyante, may mga enthusiast.
Very nice, very nice. I think that also connects to the question of Miss Annabelle on the chat. No, how can experts like you reach out to share information or action points? So yan, may volunteerism pala na component, and there is information that's being shared, no, Doc Pat. Babalik, tatalon ako kasi kanina nasa bundok tayo. There was a question from Miss Hazel Balones. Sir Pat, included na rin po Palawan endemic yung mga beach forests? Salamat
Wala
po.
wala tayong masyadong endemic sa beach, sa mangrove, kasi nagsi-share kasi tayo ng coast, 'di ba? So kaya nadadala lang yung propagule sa kabilang province, through sa coast. So kaya wala tayong endemic na, particularly sa mangroves, wala tayong endemic na mangroves. I think sa beach may pangilan-ngilan man, pero kokonti yan. But then lahat ng species yon, yung Palawan endemic na sinasabi ko, lahat ng 3 species yon included.
All right. And now there's another question. Just to check if whether that answered the question of Miss Hazel Balones. And there is another question coming from Miss Annalie Lagan. May I know po species with high water retention capacity para po sana sa reforestation upstream ng isang river source namin dito sa Puerto na sa loob po ng Palawan Flora and Fauna Watershed Reserve?
When it comes to water holding capacity, high water holding capacity, pagdating sa trees, wala akong ibang naisip kundi mga figs, mga ficus. So yan talaga, makikita nyo naman, at saka malimit na sa tabi sila ng ilog. No? So mga pioneer species, ang problema natin sa mga pioneer species natin, marami dyan, medyo mahirap i-propagate. For instance, mga figs, mga ficus, di ba? May mga studies na nagsasabi kinakailangan dumaan muna sila sa stomach ng ibon para maging maganda, para tumubo sila. Kapag hindi, most likely hindi siya magiging viable. So mahirap yung propagation.
So dapat pala na process muna ng bodily enzymes ng mga animals para mas tumaas yung chances of propagation. I learned something new. Thank you for that, Doc Pat, no?
But again, kinakailangan nating i-experiment talaga to. Tama yung sinabi ni Ma'am Georgine kanina kasi kulang tayo sa studies. Actually, sa mga conferences na naatinan ko, nandyan yung aking mga co-researchers, lalo na pagdating sa mga physiology, china-challenge ko sila. Sobrang dami na. Pag nag-search ka ng information about mahogany, Gmelina, puno yung ang daming lalabas na information. Pero mag-search ka sa endemic species, wala. So kaya ang challenge lagi is, kailan pa natin sisimulan yung mga studies natin for native species. So let's do it for native species naman. Sobrang dami ng information sa exotics.
All right. So I think there's a lot of questions pa, no? And also, siguro there's just one more that we will, kasi I'm also interested about this item from, or this question from Mr. Bagakay. Good morning po, sir. Ano po masasabi niyo sa project ni Apple the App? How does it affect on the endemic species conservation?
Dapat, nabanggit din ni Ma'am Georgine, science-based dapat ang pagtatanim. Hindi ka nagtatanim para lang mag-regreen. No? So science-based. May kanya-kanyang area kung saan pwede itanim yan. Tsaka, coconut, di ba? Nabash na din yung globe dyan, no? Sa kanilang GCAS, sorry. Yung GCAS, nagpapatanim ng coconut. Of course, kung ito ay mga production areas, pwede, walang problema kasi malaking tulong ang coconut. But kung restoration, pag sinabi kasing restoration, pinabalik natin yung mga dating nandun. So kung hindi naman niyog yung dating nandyan, ba't mo gagamitin ang niyog for restoration?
Okay, thank you for that, Doc Pat. And there's more questions here, and we will definitely have a more exciting open mic later, diba? An open exchange, and I definitely that gives me the cue to move towards our next speaker. But please let us give one more round of applause for the sharing of Doc Pat Malabrigo Jr., the Indiana Jones of the Philippines. I look forward. Napapalo na rin kita, sir, kung meron kang page on social media. Para gusto ko makita yung mga and I will do the same kay Sir Ed. I'm very interested in terms of the different landscapes and ecosystems.
Sorry, walang
you.
time mag-post po sa social media.
Wala pa. Sa PNTN nila pala ako dapat tumingin, no, sir?
Very inspiring.
Okay, so
Very inspiring.
thank you. Yes, correct. That's true, sir Ed. And I know that you have questions. We'll also synthesize them all together. Let me give way to our third speaker for this morning. Very enlightening and very informative morning for today. Our third speaker is an academician from the National Academy of Science and Technology. She is the Chief Mangrove Scientific Advisor. I don't want to get that wrong. Chief Mangrove Scientific Advisor of the Zoological Society of London. She is also a part of the 1972 UN Conference on the Human Environment, and she holds a PhD in marine biology since the 1990s in UP Dalaman, and has a Master in Studies in Zoology, Indiana University, and BS Zoology, cum laude of UP Dalaman back in 1996. She's done almost 100 research and authored content, and also a contributor on beach forestries, mangroves, prawn and shrimp culture industry in the Philippines, and a whole lot more. Wow. We will not be able to finish if we will continue monitoring all of her achievements all throughout. I would love to have coffee with this amazing lady. And we're also very grateful to her being part of the Ally 1 and Ally 2 books for her contributions. Brace yourself for this, guys. Dr. Jean Primavera, named Heroes of the Environment by Time Magazine back in 2008. Wow, I gotta look for that. So yes, let's all be grateful for the time with the one and the only Dr. Jean Primavera.
Good noon to all of you. May I share my screen? And then I go to window, and then
Yes, Doc. So you would see that
I
on the
think
bottom.
so.
Yeah, you would see parang a screen with an arrow up.
And then
There. Okay, we're seeing it now. All right, take it away, Doc.
teka. Hindi, paano ba matras? Dapat I should go back pala to number 1. Okay.
Hindi pala. Yeah. All right.
Is that okay?
100%. You are good. Thank you. Take it away, Doc. Looks perfect.
Yes,
Can
Doc.
you hear me now? Can I go ahead? Hello?
Go ahead, Doc.
Okay na,
We
okay.
can hear you well.
Sige. So,
Loud
sorry
and clear,
Pat,
Doc.
I'm not talking about mangroves but beach forest kasi medyo kulang ng information about beach forest. So, doon na lang muna ako mag-focus for coastal protection, reforestation, and ornamental uses. Okay? And here, we have the different forest types. Marami akong mga ganito kasi scientist niya eh. So here I have enclosed yung beach forest, malapit siya sa mangrove forest. And on the ground, ganito yung tsura niya, no? First, you have the mangroves, which are between the high tide and the low tide, intertidal. Ang beach forest, anything above the high tide, yung tinatawag na supratidal. But together, they form the coastal green belt. So let's look at the beech forest species. Sometimes nag-overlap with the mangrove associates. In our book, 2012, we had 58 families and 156 species. Pero in a more recent book, we now have 180 species of beech forest trees. I mean, beech forest plants, about half of them, mga 80 of them are trees, no? Hindi siya shrubs or vines or what. And we can see very widespread ang beech forest species noon by the names of places, cities, towns, after beech forest trees. Halimbawa, Baritonia asiatica, yung Bituon, Butong. So we have all these places, Bituonan, Butong. Calophyllum inophyllum is Dangkalan or Bitaog. We have those. Itogo is Cycas. Dapdap is Erythrina indica. Antalipariti is Balabago, Malabago. By the way, balik na ito sa hibiscus, no? Ipil is Incha, and so on. Anyway, I'd like to highlight Banilad, which is a barangay in Dumaguete at saka in Cebu. Hindi na nila alam yun. Wala nang Banilad. This is a Banilad tree. Banago. Again, Banago in Bacolod Port. Wala na rin Banago. Especia Pupulnea. Of course, Talisay is in all our provinces, may Talisay yan, no? Everywhere. And to highlight Coron in Palawan, may Coron town, which I traced the literature, parang galing dito sa Hernandia nymphaefolia, because ito siya. Ang fruits niya are capsules na nasa loob yung seed. Tapos in an old Tagalog dictionary, tawag dito nakakulong, kulong-kulong kasi nakakulong yung seed doon sa capsule. Siyempre, yung mga Kastila, when they have native words, pinapaganda nila yung kulong-kulong, naging koron-koron. So as far as I can see, ito yung source ng koron. In Palawan, I visited last May. Ano na rin ito, advertisement, no, for the National Museum, kasi I'm a trustee of the National Museum. So this is in Tabon Cave Complex. I gave a lecture, and then maraming mga ano dun, POs, NGOs, pati yung staff. And we had a lot of really very enthusiastic, and this is in south of Palawan, no? So I guess some people's in Palawan have not been to the Tabon Cave Museum, so I really encourage you to go kasi it's a very nice place, especially the surroundings, the cave. Yan ang entrance ng cave, and that's from the distance, yan ang cave. Ako hindi na ako umakyat kasi I prefer to look at the forest. It was either I look at the trees or I look at the cave. So, syempre, doon ako sa mangrove forest and beech forest. Meron ding lowland, no? Dipterocarp forest. Itong trees na ito, towards the afternoon, may malaking mga, ano ba yun? Mga hornbills lumilipad there, roosting in those trees. And ito na si beech forest. In only half day, kasi short ang stay ko, 28 species. I'm not putting the scientific names of them. Beech forest species. But just to highlight Taka, Leontopectaloides. Kasi ito yung source ng tayubong. This was the starch. Ito yung gaw-gaw natin noon. Noong nag-i-start pa tayo ng clothes. Maybe our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers. Ako, naabutan pa ito, no? Yung gaw-gaw or tayubong. That comes from a beech forest herb. Taka, this one. And ito yung highlight for me. Kasi I saw this foliage very attractive. Yun pala, it's not flowers, no, it's fruits, pods. Tapos, the unique thing is that para siyang vine hanggang dun sa taas. There. So I took samples and then sent it to social media. Sabi ng lahat, uy, siyar. It's Peltophorum pterocarpum, which is, kailang tree ang siyar, no? Ito para siyang vine. So I looked at Google, sabi ni Dr. Google, baka dusty rockies or something like that. And then, ito yung picture, mukhang similar. But anyway, I'm asking the people there to try to get some flowers. At the same time, nagpa-germinate ako ito. And hopefully, I don't know, in 5 years, I'll get some flowers and then padala ko kay Pat para ipa-ID Pat kung ano ba talagang species ng Peltophorum. Anyway, the first topic is coastal protection. Alam na natin, super typhoons, about 20 a year in the country. Enter PAR, no? Only half of them, mga 10 only, make landfall. So ito, there's a new paper. Hindi ko na ano yung citation, but 20 enter the Philippine area of responsibility. Of course, the strongest was Yolanda. And ito, an old graph showing the frequency of storm events, no? Hurricanes, cyclones, they're all storms. But look, most of them are nandito sa atin, 30%. Kaya naman, look at all the damage. No? Yolanda, supposed to be up to 2 billion, pero I read somewhere na baka abot ng 12 to 15 billion dollars ang damage from Yolanda. And in terms of the intensity of the storms, yung red, this is from the Saffir-Simpson scale, are the strongest. So again, ito na naman sa atin, sa Philippines, yung strongest. And with climate change, the storms are not increasing in frequency, no, yung typhoons. The same, but the super typhoons, they are increasing in intensity. Mas maraming super typhoons ngayon. Kaya naman, yung mga deaths, sa Sendong only 3,000. Yolanda, they stopped counting at 6,000. Pero when I went back there, sabi ng mga locals, abot ng 15,000 dead from Yolanda. So the question is, what can we do to prevent or reduce such damage and deaths, no? And science tells us that the energy from waves, as measured by the wave height, no, can be reduced, attenuated, absorbed by both physical factors, yung slope, topography, depth, and biological factors, yung mangroves, the height of the mangroves, the density, etc., etc. Such that if we just look at the regular waves, no, yung alon, if we want to reduce the energy up to 60%, we need 100-meter green belt. Please note that, no? If you want to reduce it to 99%, you need 1/2 kilometer wide green belt. So note the 100 meters. Ito just shows in Indonesia, a wave 6 to 7 meters high, passing through, I don't think this is 98, this is about mga 50 meters. Pagdating doon, 1 meter high na lang siya. This is really not rocket science. No? Parang it's just common sense. You go through the trees, siyempre mag-reduce ang energy. So this is the first function of beach forest, is coastal protection. And here, this is a 2007 paper showing what happens. This is 2013, storm protection na naman. These are scientific papers, pero yung photos na lang ang sinama ko. And another one here with mangroves and without mangroves. Okay? And even with Yolanda, ito, they still remain standing. And looking closely, these were beach forest species, talisay and bani or baluk-baluk in Visayan. Odette, more recently, these are photos from a friend. Talisa is still standing. Alagao, that's a Premna. That's a mangrove, Sonaratia. And these are mangroves, Avicennia and Sonaratia. And from an earlier typhoon, 2013, 10 years earlier, Cylocarpus, Miletia pinnata still standing after the storm. So not only mangroves can provide protection, also beech forests. As we can see here in Palawan, to the left, we have a mangrove forest up front. At the back, we have the beech forest. To the right, the slope is too steep. Pag steep, hindi pwede si mangrove. So beech forest lang. So depending on the slope, you can have just the beech forest and or the mangrove and beech forest to provide the coastal protection as green belts. In summer, masyadong malakas, no? Mangroves need protected areas. So hindi pwede si mangrove dito. As you can see, this is all beech forest. Pati dito, beech forest yan. So coastal protection is provided only by the beech forest. Unfortunately, in our country, we have mostly coconut forest and nipahat forest. Hindi naman pwede si coconut. Yan, no? And somebody mentioned na si apple di up. Hay nako, coconuts are native species, no? Beech forest yan, but you can have one coconut in 100 trees. What apple di up wants to do is imomonoculture. Hindi nga pwede, you look at this. So, these are also beech forest trees. Walang mangroves dito, no? Only beech forest ang kanyang green belt. So, this is from colleague of Pat, si Edwino Fernando. Here I have enclosed the lowland forest and the beech forest. Kasi nag-overlap. Actually, the species that we describe in our books, yung iba lowland forest, pero nandun sila sa beach. So, they transition. No? And again, that's the same, I think, that we saw. So based on the 100 meters, in 2014, we drafted a bill, Coastal Greenbelt Bill, and asked Senator Bam Aquino to sponsor it, requiring coastal municipalities to have at least 100 meters width greenbelt. The next year, si Lower House Congressman sponsored it, si Bato Cabe. Well, he was assassinated and Bam lost the election, but he won again. So anyway, walang nangyari sa Greenbelt Bill. Every year since 2014, it's revived, but it has yet to pass. It is something that we needed yesterday, pero ewan ko, our congresspersons and our senators in all their wisdom cannot see the need for a coastal greenbelt for Filipinos who lose what? 16,000 lives in one typhoon. Buti pa yung local governments. This is Negros Occidental. They won an award because they mandated a network of local coastal greenbelt zones. No? So this was 2023. This is the executive order requiring a greenbelt. And all the coastal municipalities here, Pulupandan, Pontevedra, Kabangkalan, etc. May greenbelt sila. An example is San Enrique. Each had its own municipal ordinance requiring first an inventory of the coastline, rehabilitation, afforestation, and reversion of abundant ponds to mangroves, and removal of illegal permanent structures to make way for the coastal greenbelt. What trees do we have? Sa beech forest, this is taluto. By the way, this one to the left, this is in Palawan. I remember I took this photo, no? Pterosymbium tinctorium. In Concepcion, Iloilo, during typhoons, they lose their leaves, but then they recover. And they are fast growers, they are softwood, because they are not there for timber, they are there as windbreakers. No? So Kasi when people ask me, ano ang kahoy? Is it hard? Sabi ko, of course not. It's soft. Kasi it's not for timber. So you have to, adjust. Another species, this one I really like this from B1. This is Vita, Alstonia scolaris. A grove, siguro there are 2 or 3 trees here in bloom, in full bloom. And the same tree was found somewhere in Quezon City. This is Mayor Joy Belmonte kasi binigyan itong Vita tree ng plaque because it saved 37 people at the height of Typhoon Ondoy. This is in Bagong Silangan pala in Quezon City. So imagine for yourself how 36 people climbed up this tree and it saved them. But anyway, it did. So that is protection from the beach. And that's the same species. Now, it's the start of my family albums. Ang families ko mga trees, no? I planted 2,000 pa siguro from my seedling, and then I keep photos over the years. This was the last one, 2021. And it is, here is another report of that same Vita tree. This is a clearer photo of the tree, which saved the life of this lady, her family members, totaling 37 from Ondoy in September 2009. So this is a beach forest. So we need coastal green belts. Pero most of the Philippines is like this. Bakit ba hindi maintindihan ng mga Congress people natin, no? Like this. This is what we should have along the coastline. This is in Thailand. Ito sa Surigao, yun. Medyo forward-looking, no, ang LGUs doon. So this saved many residents during Typhoon Odette in Surigao. Number 2 now, we go to function would be reforestation. Ang problema, most of the Philippines is like this up here. The need is for reforestation. And we have all these, what we see, government eyes regreening. Ito, all Filipinos at least 12 years of age required to plant 1 tree, plant native trees. Isabela Governor, 1 million. Do not want to plant small seedlings kasi mamamatay sila. So here, since 2008, we started planting here. So my sons, pati ang dogs, they come around to help. This is how it looked in 2008, an old barren rice field. Problema, rice fields have hard pans. You look at agriculture, because of the constant plowing over the years, tumitigas yun, yung clay dito, no? So, pag umuulan, yung tubig does not penetrate. It floods. Kasi pan nga ito, it's a pan of water, it's a hard pan. Pag dry season naman, the water below cannot go up, no? Walang capillary action. So, an extreme environment to grow trees. Yun. Ang daming napatay dun sa seedlings ko. So there was a time we had to bring in we had to hold in the water during summer just to help the plants. This is what happens during the rainy season, baha, no? The water cannot penetrate kasi nga may pan. And may problema si seedlings, nag-iibang kulay. Ito siya, this is Barringtonia, nag-yellow, this is just spirals and so on. But anyway, sige lang. Eventually, what happened was, yung mga naiiwan, the roots accumulate organic matter slowly hanggang they penetrate the hard pan and they go down to the aquifer and then they are able to survive. So ito siya in 2008, parang rice field talaga. And 2018, ayan na siya. All the trees that we planted there. As of 2020, we have planted 80. By now, mga more than 100 species na that we have planted. Mostly beech forest, yung galing nga sa book, that the seeds from the book that I planted in the nursery. And I did a survey in 2016, no? So, looking at the survival of the beech forest species, 87, almost 90% of them survived. Dalawang El Niños ito, no? 2011 and 2016 were both El Niño years. The non-beech forest species, including the dipterocarps, wala pang 20% nag-survive. Yung dipterocarps, lahat namatay. Pati sa nursery ko. Kaya ako, I will never, never, ever plant dipterocarps anymore. Kasi ang hirap-hirap. They are climax species eh. Anyway, ganito yun. Pioneers, pag bare, barred, like rice lands, then you plant pioneers like the beech species. Pag you have ganito na enrichment, then you plant your dipterocarps. Pwede yan, no? Your dipterocarps can go in there. Or, pag this one, they go through succession, the dipterocarps will come. So, you use beech forest kasi Pat mentioned pioneers. They are pioneers, they are colonizers, they are ideal for bare sites in the beginning. Ang dipterocarps are climax. Pag sinabing climax, they are at the end. So you do not plant dipterocarps sa ganito. Kaya I've seen yung rainforestation has been mentioned. Some rainforestation materials, ganito yung ano nila, you have this and then you plant dipterocarps. No, you cannot do that because dipterocarps are climax species. So ito, kinopya ko lang ito. Your colonizers, yung lichens, moss, shrubs. Here are your beech species. Then your dipterocarps are the climax species. Yeah. Yeah, this was the rainforestation farming that I mentioned. And these are the dipterocarps na no matter what I do, ay nako, talagang gusto nilang mamatay doon sa nursery ko at sa tree park, okay. So, never mind, I've given up. This was El Nino of 2010. And this is because the beech species are found under the hot sun. Ang init-init, so temperature, sanay sila dyan. Strong waves, sanay sila dyan. Although pag strong na strong talagang umaatras sila. And low fresh water supply kasi nasa beach nga, and low nutrients. So these are your ideal colonizers, pioneers for really extreme environmental conditions. So, we produced 50 species yung anak, F1 generation. Yung anak, nanganak ng apo. So half of those, mga 25 species, nakaproduce ako ng apo doon sa tree park. No? So ito yung mga nag-apo. And what are these species? So among the, say, 80 that I have, ang number one ko talaga is Miletia pinnata. Bani in Tagalog, baluk-baluk, bayuk-bayuk, barok-barok. Because of their early reproduction, they are found, they're very easily available. This is in our book. We got seeds. I planted the seeds and germinate as the F1 generation. Outplant ko in 2011. Nanganak na si outplanted in 2008. In 3 years, nanganak na siya. That is early reproduction. And that is what you want for deforestation. You don't want late reproduction. You want that only for Filipinos, no? You want Filipino women to have late reproduction kasi yung population natin talagang run away. But for reforestation, you want them manganak as early as they can. So in 2015, ayan na siya. In 2020, actually one tree, more than 10 meters ang diameter of the crown because when they have fruits, the fruits fall and they germinate. So ito, some of these are already babies under the mother tree. Some of them are even apo na nung not apo, actually anak lang. So this is an ideal tree species, not only because of high germination, high survival, easy availability, but also because it can produce a wide forest. And I computed if you plant this, instead of the 400 per hectare seedlings, standard requirements of forestry is 400 seedlings per hectare. Ito you can go down to 100 only per hectare because already it's not 5 by 5, no, it's not 5 by 5 distance because you already have 10 meters distance. Another species is Baraybay, Cerbera. This one. These are all my family albums. I have from seeds to seedlings all the way to panganak nila. So over 10 years, what you can see is they have seeds like this, but they also have saplings. Seedlings are from seeds. So they are nurtured, they're nourished by the seed leaves, no, yung tawag na dicotyledons. But the saplings, they arise from the roots, and they are nurtured by the sap of the mother tree. So this is the advantage of this species. Kasi ayan, ito mga saplings, marami. Pag isa lang seedlings. So ito siya, 2010, ganyan lang. That's 1 meter, 2010. 2025, this year, that's already, I don't know, that's already up to here. And up to here, it's already 20 meters. So again, if you plant this species, you don't have to plant 400 per hectare. You can plant maybe 100 or less per hectare. And actually, there are others that are dispersed by bats, by birds. Again, you can go down kasi they spread, they disperse the species. And especially if you have wind dispersal, this is from another paper that I have on this, abot ng 50 meters. The seedlings are dispersed by the wind 50 meters or even farther. And when you have that, only 25, I computed, not just very rough computation, 25 seedlings per hectare you will need. But these are all native beech forest species. And aside from that, the birds that roost in your trees, they also poop, no? They poop and they introduce this species. I know all the trees in my park kasi tinanim ko. Ito hindi ko tinanim. Bangkal, mali, this is postus, this one, and anagas. These are all dispersed or planted by the birds and by the bats. And argao, inyam, anonang, all from the outside. So we recommend for reforestation, beech forest species, and these are my favorite beech forest species. Kasi high survival, high germination, fast growth rate, high early reproduction. At the same time, there are wild recruits that come in with the birds and bats that we have found. Of course, makaranga, binunga is a colonizer, yung Ficuseptica, talisay, and so on. So, another family album of, this is Balu in Tagalog. I highlight this because the seeds are available the whole year round. All the other species I showed, mga once, at most twice a year. But itong Balu, I have a tree in my home, in my front yard. We have seeds the whole year round. Doon sa garahe, no? They just fall. So this will be ideal. I don't know yung mga nagre-reforest sa DNR why nobody has discovered this. Retiera littoralis, again, I planted 2000 siguro. This is in our church, no? In our churchyard. 2000, from 2006 pala, I planted. Then, 2017, nanganak na siya. Those are the fruits. But I show this. There was a year na nag-produce siya ng mini. Again, this would be a nice topic for research. No? Why these miniature seeds at the same time that they have the full seeds? And still another, somebody told me, no, when I was in the lecture, parang si Ultraman. So I looked up Ultraman. Oo nga, parang si Ultraman. And you know, the biggest Heritiera littoralis or Dungon latte is in Okinawa, in Japan. This was in 2002, no, when I visited, and medyo I still had black hair. So sabi ko, my own imagination, baka naman yung whoever designed Ultraman, protector of the universe, whoever the Japanese designer, baka he visited Irimote and saw the fallen seeds of this Dungon latte, Heritiera, no? And got his inspiration. I don't know. I have to ask a Japanese if what is the real story. Anyway, that was in our church, no? You saw the church. I planted siguro mga 20 other beech forest species in the church. This is the balu that I said, or agotot, the seeds. This is banilad, the seeds. This is bitaog, the seeds. And this is dungon, the seeds. So I call it my sacred mother trees. Sacred kasi nasa church sila, sa churchyard. Anyway, as you expect, those trees end up in our home. Ayan, they're all over in our house, sa refrigerator, sa garahe, sa sala, sa bedroom. They're everywhere. Kasi I disperse seeds, no? For 7 years now, using Facebook, I announce availability of seeds, and then they PM me what they are interested in. Alam ito ni Rafi, and then I send via courier, just refund of the shipping fee. That's all. The seeds are for free. So that's dispersal. Yung sabi ni Pat na this is ex situ conservation. The seeds are here so that when the habitat is available, no, for replanting, we have seeds remaining. And this is a more recent of the 80 species that I have planted, just to stress that they are found from the beach up to 300 km inland. I've seen this in Agusan because they are dispersed by birds, bats, wind. And in terms of elevation, they to 200 meters, pwede talaga. But others have reported 400 meters above sea level. Therefore, they are ideal for lowland reforestation, as I have experienced. So we come now to the last topic. These are all, hibiscus is balimbago, marimbago, lambago. Children playing. This is now rural and urban landscaping. Car park, houses, cities, and parking area in a shopping mall. So not only urban, but also rural landscaping. And this is from PNTE poster. These are all, well, mostly beech forest. This is Siyar, Molave, Itil. This is Salimbobog, Kulatingan, Salingogon, Ardisia. So ornamental, ang ganda ng mga flowers nila, no? This is hibiscus. The bark of hibiscus in South Pacific, they use it for cordage, no? As rope. Kasi sa South Pacific, they cannot grow abaca. Ang liliit ng mga islands, they cannot support abaca. So this is what they use for rope. And the hula is not made of grass, it is made of the bark of hibiscus. So shade, pwede rin siyang shade. And ornamental here. The landscaping along streets. It's very hardy. It will survive if you plant it along highways. And these are more rare species. Hindi pa ito na-germinate. This one, I have planted this, and this. But this one is, I think, endemic to Surigao, Bictia, and very difficult to propagate. Pat mentioned magpuno. This is Xanthostemon verdugonianus, is a beech species. Singapore sakura, but actually that is a beech forest species, Ratoxylum formosum, called salingugun or uringon or ulingon. Kasi the local people, ang use nila is for uling or charcoal or firewood. Hindi nila na-appreciate yung ganda. No? It's only now that because of the Philippine native tree enthusiast groups on social media that this has been popularized, and now local LGUs are planting Ratoxylum formosum. It's found all over the country. Kasi beech forest nga, sabi ni Pat, no, these are not limited in distribution. Nadadala ng So, and you can see, because they are so distributed, ang variation. Ang sarap kaya mag-try ng genetic study dito, no? Kung anong mga differences. Because shades na lang of the colors, you have such a wide variety. These are all flowers that are for landscaping. This is Cristelatea, a mangrove associate. This is from a mangrove park. the flowers now, they can be planted. It's a vine. Here you can see it's called the Australian gold vine. And it's actually being planted now, no? In beach resorts and elsewhere, because you can plant it and you can see the very nice flowers. This one is not so popular. This is an endemic species, Villarria philippinensis. We found it only in Samar. So I tried to bring some fruits for propagation, but I was not fortunate. But anyway, it's there in Samar, this one so far. The only place where I saw it. Utania volubilis, it's found, I've seen it, I think, in Visayas and Mindanao, but it has very nice blooms, again, very nice for planting here, like this. Of course, dap-dap, erythrina, has very beautiful blooms. Ang problema is that it has this, it has the gall, no, that still has no treatment, wasp caused by wasps. This is a very popular species now. It's again beech forest, and I was looking for it in Aklan. My son and I, New Year's Day, so we climbed up the ridge to look for this. This is how the ridge is. And we were trapped. You can see how steep it is. It's almost 45 degrees. We were trapped looking for Dilenia cebuyanensis. And finally, somebody came with a rope, the road, and threw us a rope, and that's me there and holding on to the rope to come up. Anyway, ganun, sabi ni Pat, nakakalimutan mo yung hirap pag you see all the beautiful trees, the beautiful flowers. This is another beech forest, Patalsik Pula. Yan. And also Rothmania merelli or something like that. I'm trying to also propagate this, pero not so far. Those were the flowers. Now we come to the fruits. Bakit sila attractive? You know naman, pandakaki, no? I don't know what is the Tagalog name. It's called alibutbut in Cebuano. Mostly, the fruits are like this, or pandakaki. But in Cebu, I found fruits like this, very attractive, like this, and very profuse with fruits. So I tried to propagate, kaya lang hindi. But if, you know, if somebody can propagate this, would be a very nice ornamental for urban landscaping from Bantayan, Cebu. Another species, Alophilus kobe, again, the fruits. It's the fruits that are attractive, like this. And Gymnosporia, again, it's the fruits that are very attractive. This is a small tree to a bush. You can also have bonsai of these beech forest species. These are all beech forests. And beech resorts, plant these trees. This is the octopus tree, the biggest that I've seen, although I've seen this also in Masbate. And in Eastern Samar, these are all beech species, Pandanus. And in Rojas, Nara, Palawan, Rafi, maybe you haven't seen this. This is Bantiye, Crinum, and Pandanus pectorius, and Scivola, sea cabbage. They are all ornamentals, all native trees, all beech forest trees. And this one is from a friend, Facebook friend. This tree, it's a small tree. It's very nice. Guettarda speciosa. I have 3 seedlings now with me that I hope to propagate to maturity, because the tree is very nice. It's very compact. It's a small tree like this. You can see that it's a beech forest. You can see the seed there. And another beech forest is Laneti, used as a living fence here in Iloilo, no? Near where I live. These are just branches stuck into the property, and they have grown into trees. But the flowers are also nice, of Wrightia capidescens. And this one is from Bohol. The original provenance is from Bohol, Mimosupes elengi. This is the mother tree in 2000, I don't know, 7, 5, 6. And these are the daughters. I propagated the seeds, and these are the daughters. That's from Bohol. This is the same species from Capiz. Hindi kasing ganda, no? actually you have the same species from different places. Yung iba mas maganda, yung iba mas pangit. So I try to select, if it is for ornamentals, I try to select the mas maganda. Okay, this is the mother tree in Bohol, no? I got, I think, mga 8 seeds siguro in 2008. And these are the seedlings. And I planted some, I gave away some. And I was so happy that I traced some of them. These are the daughters in my own tree park, including this last one. But this third one, I saw this only 3 days ago in a friend's home. He told me, oh, you gave me the seedling 10 years ago. Now he really likes it because the foliage is very thick and very nice for shade. So this is one thing also among the native tree enthusiasts. We exchange seeds and seedlings, no? And we remember each other like that. So these are the F1 generation of my mimosox. I think I'm close to ending now. These are all native trees, except that, why do we have exotic triflaris, African oil palm, acacia, African oil palm? This is in Metro Manila, no? This is native, Cyanometra, Balitbitan, and Bitaog. Going back to Surigao, this one is not a dying tree. This is really the color. It's like a species in, it's a deciduous tree, no? It's like a temperate species. You think you are in Central Park, New York. This is the tree, Xylocarpus rumphii. And this one, we should propagate. It is just so beautiful. I saw this in Palawan, no? This is what we should, the horticulturists, they should undertake the studies to see what kind of fertilizers, salinity, or etc., to stimulate this reddening of the foliage. This lasts for about 2 to 4 weeks. And when you have this, wow, it's so beautiful. The same species in Negros, this was in Palawan, in Negros, not as striking. So that's what I mean when I say that we need the research to find out what would, stimulate this kind of colors. And of course, Balitbitan, Cyanometra, looks like Snow White, already planted now in many cities, no? It's already being propagated. This is from Palawan, Lipsiphyllum. It's not yet very popular, but it has potential. It's a vine, go up trellises. And again, the dicta, which now is found in, this is in Makati, I think, no? In Makati. And these are all beech forest trees now, which should really be planted to replace all the mahoganies. Okay, this will be my last few slides because I'd like to show, this is in the Iloilo airport. They planted Miletia pinnata, that's bunny. Okay, fine, no? Native trees to balance all these royal palm. So all native trees. Kaya lang, when I look closely, ay ganito. Ay, tinutol pala. Bakit naman? Maybe ayaw nilang maraming branches. So maybe ayaw nilang maraming leaves kasi tinatamad yung janitor, yung grounds persons na magwalis, no? Eh kung ganun, then do not plant this kind of tree kasi this is your Miletia pinnata in the wild. Talagang siya, maraming branches. Beech forest trees have multiple stems. You know why? Kasi nandyan yung storm surge. Pag nabali yung isa, meron pang isa. That's what you call air and a spare, no? So yan ang characteristic of beech forest trees. If you don't want many stems, you change your species. If you don't want so many leaves and branches, you change your species. Do not cut the tree. You can plant putian instead, or kanumay, a smaller beech. These are also beech forest trees. Or guetarda that I showed earlier. These are smaller trees, pwede dun sa highway. So yun, ang nangyari sa airport, kulang ng science. What we say in Bisaya, pataka lang o pangtanom, no? Wala, no guidance, no nothing. And then the poor tree grows and then they just cut it really mercilessly. So this is the Putian, another family album, 2009, My Seedlings. And 2000, this was 3 years ago, ganito na siya. Really nice tree. And these are the seeds, some of the seeds that I dispersed by courier. Ay, finally natapos. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jean. Daming content natin that we have gone through. Personally, I was going through all of the content that you were showing. So hindi pala naka-on yung camera ko. And, okay. Personally, I was going through the content that you were showing and I learned a lot about beach, about trees that are best for coastal lines, diba? Pero ang medyo nag-attract na attention ko talaga yung Ultraman. Oo, siyempre lumaki ako na di ba, idol ko si Ultraman di ba? So may ganun pala. All right. So I would like to open up again the floor for any questions. Siguro we can take maybe since we are towards the end and I think that's a really good opportunity. We can take 1 or 2 questions specifically for Dr. Jean and then tayo ng closing remarks from our Guru Rafi and then open mic naman po tayo. No? So are there I see someone raised their hands. Oh, I see Samuel raising his hands. Yes, Red.
Sige. Prince, bago lang kasi biglang maputol kasi maano yung power situation namin nagka-fluctuate. I wanted to ask urgently si Doc Jorgen yung plano ni Yorme sa Manila to plant 100,000 o 1 million bamboo sa Rojas Boulevard. Have you catch that news? Gusto niya immediate tanim ng at least 100,000 yata na bamboo sa Rojas Boulevard para sa storm surge.
Yeah. Wow.
Kaya nga, kailangan siya ng immediate advice kasi baka mas maganda ang beach forest. Or I don't know anong advice may bigay nyo. And then I remember Dita is doing well sa Ayala Avenue sa Makati. Dita, which is a beach forest, no? I understand. So please advise si Jorgen, si Mayor, kasi parang gusto niya itanim kaagad this year na.
Ay, nako. Yan ang sinasabing a little learning is a dangerous thing, no? Puro enthusiasm, kulang ng science. Yeah,
Kursunada.
Yung bamboo. Oh, popular ang bamboo, but bamboo is not, bamboo is a monocot. It has shallow roots. Kahit sa upland actually, no? You plant bamboo only in plantations, but you don't plant bamboo for soil erosion, even dun sa river, yung to hold, especially sa by Rojas Boulevard. I don't know what the idea is. You plant bamboo kasi you will harvest it. Kasi if it is for aesthetic purposes, naman maganda si bamboo kung pupo. So I can only get baka
short news clip lang nabasa ko sa Rappler or some Manila sa Philippine Star, I think. But it would really be good to catch that right away kasi baka mag-invest na kaagad yung mga yun din ang problema sa mga LGUs kasi you have LGUs that are as good like that of Negros Occidental which you cited yung sa network of, and then you also have mga mayors na pabugso yung decision na yun kulang ng science
what I can see also dyan, no? Kasi yung LGUs, they have funds, no? And then you put you add to this the opportunistic behavior. So merong source yan of seedlings of bamboo. Ayan, na convince na si Mayor na ganito, ganyan. Sana si Mayor should go to the, to academe, to the scientists and ask for advice or
Yes. That's why yung batas na nabanggit nyo po that hindi pa nagpasa-pasa yung protocol for this coastal green belt is very crucial. But I wonder if kahit wala pang batas, baka ang DNR pwede na kaagad mag-issue ng administrative order to guide yung mga LGUs. Good intention pero hindi siya science informed, ba? Yun ang mabigat
Actually, come to think of it, dapat BMB kasi DNR BMB, sila ang biodiversity that planting of
Oo nga,
bamboo
isa rin.
doon sa Ross Boulevard
Mm.
is contra biodiversity. So if you look at DNR, yung BMB, that is under their purview, no, na ano, to preserve biodiversity, huwag yung bamboo na yun.
Yes. Okay. Sige. Thank you, Doc J.
All right, and I think there was an open question a while ago. Thank you, Doc J. Thank you, sir. And actually, I believe you have a question a while ago. Hindi ko na rin na ano because medyo Doc J was on a roll. So you have a question. Is Doc J is hibiscus thaliaceus? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Has yellow flower in the morning and red in the afternoon.
Yes. Yes. In the morning, no, and then it falls actually mga early morning, they turn pink and then they fall. So parang early after midnight sila nag-open. Pero that's true. Hibiscus and the sister flower, yung banago is also like that.
Okay.
All right.
Salamat po.
Thank you, Dr. Jean. Samuel, do you have a question?
Yes po, I have one. So I'll just give a bit of context po sa question ko is that I'm Ma'am Rafi's son, and growing up, I've grown the appreciation for nature, for life, and for the environment thanks to her exposure of me with what she does and where she does it. So growing up among my peers, I've noticed that it's more easier to have that passion for the world, for nature, when it's directly correlated to how your parents and how your environment um, exposes you. And one thing that I've realized then, it's more harder to influence, or rather to help these people be aware and to educate them if not in the first place they don't have that same passion, that same exposure to that environment, to that care for nature. So as someone who has seen different walks of life, what do you think is the most crucial way, or let's say thing, in order to help influence or help educate the younger generation to care and to love the environment?
Okay. In your case, it was Rafi, no? In my case, the house that we lived in the province was owned. We rented a house owned by the provincial agriculturist, and therefore he planted trees all around. So I grew up climbing trees, actually, climbing fruit trees. Even up to now, I'm almost 80, I still climb trees, no? So yun, yung if we can have yung I think it's mandated by law yung a green space, cities should have a green space, no, for trees, or even subdivisions are obligated to have green spaces, so that those growing up, no, meron naman silang mapuntahan kung wala silang sarili. That's one. Another is school. Sana yung curriculum would have more I don't know, gardening, where kasi I remember when I was in elementary and high school, we would still be planting, gardening would be exposed, no? Sana schools would have parang a herbal garden, or yung well maintained, no, so that children who have the propensity, no, may na sila, they have a place na medyo ma-develop yung nila. Another is field trips. Sana yung mga biology courses in high school would have more field trips, pero well planned, no? Kasi I know that DepEd na sila ng field trips when I think some students drowned or something like that. but field trips would really be such a good way to, kasi some I agree, you know, it's the young people you should target, not the older ones, yung mga 50 years old, wala nang pag-asa yan, no? You target the children, the teenagers, kasi it's like mangroves. When we go out to mangroves, we tell our trainees, "Uy, look at the mangroves, look at the mud, no? They're so nice, it's so nice." So you have to make them look at the trees, look at the forest through your eyes. And when they do that, then it's so much easier for them to really appreciate nature. So yun, those are some ways na sana may opportunity, no? May opportunity to go to forest, to go to nature parks, and then ma-develop yung ano nila. How I wish lang.
I would just like to add po kasi my mom and I had a conversation way back in 8th grade pa po. It's about school kasi nung time na yun wherein we had gardens pero their main purpose was rather to grow food. And I would ask my mom na how important is or how important are native trees, and she educated me about it, and I ended up thinking, why don't we do that in school? Why are we only prioritizing food when in fact in a huge scale biodiversity can do a lot more compared to just food? Kasi in terms of food, you can grow it at home, you can grow it sa backyard. But if you're going to focus yung biodiversity around the school, a lot of things can change. The air that we breathe, the environment, it's all in harmony. That's what I learned from my mom during that time. So when I tried to run for student council nung time na yun, I wanted to aim to educate a lot of our classmates about the relevance of native trees. Unfortunately, never na po siya nangyari kasi I was planning that and then the pandemic hit. So it was a really hard thing to do, and ano po talaga it's hard to help these people understand if they don't have the same passion, which is, as you pointed out nga po, it's really rooted in your environment na you yourself needs to experience that feeling of freedom, of that security in nature na parang, wow, we are gifted with these beautiful things na you have that urge na, hindi, kailangan may gawin ako para ma-preserve to, para ma-maintain tong environment na to. So, thank you po, Ma'am Darlene.
Sam, quickly lang, no? Your testimonial is really very heartening kasi it demonstrates what the social media groups have done, no? Pat hindi lang natin ito na appreciate, but I think we have pushed tayo sa social media, especially those who propagate. We have pushed this forward, yung native trees and doing some research, ganon. Plus, yung intergenerational sustainability. When we have younger people with us, pati sila nabibrainwash, no? And actually, minsan I tell myself, also with my NGO, ginagawa natin, dapat DENR ito or something to that effect. But anyway, since gano'n na rin ang gobyerno natin, we try to, we do what we can, but this is the good side of social media. Kasi social media has really bad sides, no? Very dangerous sides. But for me, I use social media mainly for my plant work, yun. And we share, by the way, yung Tristaniopsis littoralis, and one yung Inchapalem, anyway, the Palawan ipil, they are all thriving. This is also how we have we form bonds with our fellow human beings through the plants that we share. So yun lang. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Jean. And I think this is a good time for us as well. And you're right, diba? It's really the next generation or the younger generation who has to see it from a different lens. And I think we have a good amount of people that are still on the call. Siguro, what we'll do now, first of all, I would like to show our appreciation, of course, to our three speakers for today. Namely, we have Sir Ed Kiblatin, Doc Pat Balabrigo, and also Doc Georgine Primavera. Thank you very much for enlightening us, sharing us your wealth of knowledge for this morning. This is really not only a knowledge sharing, but it's a sharing of passion. So thank you for inspiring not only the current, but the incoming generation as well. I would like to invite everyone for a quick opportunity for a photo. Sana you can turn on your cameras and we can take a good group photo so that we can share it as well on the social media that, hey, we have a very thriving community here supporting the Philippine native trees and Palawan and native trees of Palawan enthusiasts, right? Yan, all right. So have your, konting ice na buhok. Okay. And let's
By
have
the way,
everyone on the screen.
Prince, while somebody is going to record yung mga questions that are not answered, no? Like may mga very good questions po yata sa chat box. And then baka they can be answered later na, no?
Oh, yes, definitely. Actually, Sir Ed, after the session naman, meron pa tayong open mic session. So if there's still any good conversation, and I don't think naman mag-e-end yung link eh. So you can just continue. We'll just close the session proper and then it's open mic na and it's a free conversation for all. Okay? Okay.
Salamat.
And I would ask for everyone to turn on their cameras. Yan. Okay lang po yan para very quick view lang tayo. And I will count to 3. Please flash your best smile. Yan. In 3, 2, 1. All right. One more. Safety shot. Okay. Once again, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you very much. And I would then like to call onto the floor the lady who was very instrumental into getting us organized for today. I would like to ask for Guru Rafi Beaver for her closing remarks.
Okay na ba ako, Sir Prince?
Yes, go ahead. Guru Rafi.
Nagulat naman ako sa picture. Okay, everybody can hear me well? Yeah?
Yes, you can hear.
Okay,
Yes.
so again, maraming salamat, Dr. Jean, Doc Pat, and of course, Sir Ed sa napaka, I can say, historical, adventurous na pagkakataon na ito to be a part of the 5th anniversary ng Native Trees of Palawan. Yung picture, I think Joyce is here too, guys. That photo is taken sa kanyang farm, Dr. Jean, sa may Santa Lourdes, sa Puerto Princesa. That's La Virginia Farm. So, that is, ang hawak-hawak kong puno ay, oh my goodness, nakalimutan ko na kung ano yan. Pero that is a resin. That's a resin. Shucks, paborito ng anak ko yung puno na yan. So anyway, we're open mic. In case maputol yung link, kasi hanggang 1 o'clock lang tayo, but I'm sure there are a lot of questions waiting for all of you. I copy the link doon sa chat natin. So if you can save it on your messenger and then click that later after 1 o'clock. Okay? So let's go back to the questions. Ang daming tanong. Okay, okay, so nasagot na yung kay Doc Ed, right? Can you give me a thumbs up? Yan, nasagot yung kay Doc Ed. Okay. Okay, Dr. J. Okay, so nasagot na rin.
Okay, William.
Joyce, did you recognize that farm on the photo?
Oh, is that ours?
Okay. So, Joyce, are you saying something? Because nakamute ka, honey. So say something.
sorry.
What are
Yeah.
your...
Ano pala yun? That photo of you was taken sa farm. Yung ba yung sabi mo?
Yeah. Okay, I remember what tree is this. That's Almasiga.
Almasigan.
So that is planted in your farm. So everybody, just for everybody to know, Miss Joyce has a Airbnb and also into
Yeah.
100% native trees planting in Santa
That's what,
Lourdes.
that's the goal. That's the goal.
La Vista,
The Virginia.
Virginia farm.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanna, is still Annabelle Reyes here? Can you give me a thumbs up, Annabelle, if you're still here from Bohol? Wala na siya. Kasi meron siya ditong sinabi, unite in
Sorry
extract.
po, nandito pa po.
Okay. Hi, Annabelle, because I didn't realize you didn't do the thumbs up. Okay, hi, welcome again. Meron ka kasing comment na unite in exacting or extracting accountability from our
Duty
duty.
bearers. Exactly. Yes po.
So gusto ko tong sinabi mo na ito kasi I don't really believe in government at kung ano pa yung kaya nilang gawin. Okay? So maganda itong sinabi mo kasi we have to really work as individuals, and as individuals work in your family, and within your family work as a community. Katulad ng sinabi ni Doc Pat and Doc Georgine, si Ed, it's much more of yung organization ng PNPE. What we do, just to answer you some of the questions on how are we going to do this, Number one, again, as a parent, walk the talk, yung mga ganon. Doc Georgine is just so amazing when it comes to her passion, from the mother tree to the babies to the apo. I-disseminate niya yung seeds. Okay? She will always find a way. At mind you, hinuhugasan niya yan. Okay? Kailangan maging mabuhay ang bawat buto. So hindi biro kung ano ang mga ginagawa nila at yung mga encounters nila as an enthusiast, as an academe, and also as a human being protecting Mother Nature. So yun yung mga bagay na kailangan natin ma-establish. At number 3, yung network. So you go to organizations, go to communities na share the same passion. Kasi malaking bagay yun at malaki yung magagawa ninyo. Number 5, join 3 walks. Join 3 walks na matututo kayo, malalaman nyo kung paano, how to go over kapag meron ka nakitang seeds, paano yung proper handling, kasi malaking bagay yon. You will start in a small portion of your property. You start from the pots, yung mga maliliit na plastic cups, don't throw them. Mag-start ka doon sa garden soil, do your composting and all that. So yun, thank you Annabelle for that inputs. So any questions now that you want to ask? And raise your hands.
Hi, Guru Rafi. Let me just I think we're already transitioning over to the open mic for the content. I definitely, because I do have to run to another meeting. But definitely, I would want to say, as your host, I want to say thank you to all of you for today's session. I do learn a lot, and actually do appreciate that I said yes to the request. Opened my eyes to a lot of new things. So thank you very much. I would like to show my appreciation to all of you, to the Native Trees of Palawan enthusiasts, and to the group, to our speakers, to our 3 esteemed speakers. And please continue on with the session. And I will be sharing with Guru Rafi the photos. Yes, sige po, member na. So if that's the case, thank you, Sir Ed. And I would love to continue the conversation maybe on the future sessions. But once again, have a great morning. Or afternoon. Have a great Saturday. Thank you very much, and I look forward to connecting with all of you once again after the session. Please continue on the session. I will just need to take my leave. Guru Rafi, I turn over the hosting to you.
Thank you, Sir Prince.
Bagong
Take
member.
care. Thank you. Anyway,
yes.
we have a question
Weekend.
from Bagakay. Ma'am Georgine, tanong ko lang po, ang pag-declare ba ng beach forest protected area ay sa barangay or sa LGU na? Lusot na po ba yung barangay ordinance para makapag-proceed po kami? That's a question. Doc Georgine.
Mas okay sana